everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. Make sure you subscribe YouTube, subscribe to the blog. There's different benefits to each, and they're both free. Okay, so all I'm asking for is a little bit of your time to click a button, or in the case of my blog, put your email address in there, and you'll be on my mailing list, okay? Because you don't want to miss out things like my next webinar. So right now, for those of you watching in the future, it's August 3rd, 2015. So I do a monthly webinar on Google Hangout, absolutely free, where I discuss different topics. So the first topic was, what was it? How to get more studies for your research company. The second webinar I did on month 2, which we just wrapped up, was, what was that one? That was a really good one. Oh yeah, how to negotiate contracts and budgets. Right? The third one that we're going to be doing is how to find and compensate principal investigators or sub-investigators. But the point is how to find and compensate MDs for your clinical studies. And the fourth webinar, I've already got it scheduled, end of September. I think it's September 27th. It's going to be 12 months to 7 figures in clinical research. And 7 figures is $1 million, right? So I get asked, and this is what this video is going to be about, I get asked this question so many times. Hey Dan, I want to get started with a research clinic or a research company. How much can I really make out of this? So I think we're fortunate to be in this industry because it's one of the quickest ways, I think, to generate huge revenues in a relatively short amount of time. Real estate's a lot like this too. You just have to be a really good salesperson or have a lot of leads. Same thing is the case in clinical research. I mean, you got to be a good salesperson. Even though we don't think of ourselves as salespeople, our job is to recruit doctors, to recruit studies, to negotiate our contracts, to recruit study participants. Most of these topics are webinars, or if they haven't been done already, I will do these as webinars for my monthly webinar. So you've got to be a good salesman as well in clinical research, and I think that's something that's very much underrated or underappreciated in this industry, and I think more people need to do more of it because we're so used to dealing with all the actual operations behind the scenes, like how to actually execute the protocols, or like we're worried about adverse events and serious adverse events and answering queries. All that is important, don't get me wrong, but we do need to think of ourselves more as business people because this is a business. So this video is all about, in a nutshell, how to make 7 figures in 12 months from a brand new research startup. So first of all, you got to have a lot of things going for you. All right, you've got to have some study leads, you got to have some doctors already, and you've got to have a good pool of study participants you can recruit. And whether you have a study coordinator or not is really up to you. If you're confident enough, I know a lot of former CRAs are opening up their own research clinics. If you're comfortable enough doing the study coordinating work, by all means do it. You'll get to that 7 figures faster. You won't get there faster, but you'll profit more. So you'll be able to actually keep more of that 7 figures for yourself rather than paying it out as expenses. So really quick, because I'm going to do a full hour-long webinar on this topic, how to make 7 figures in 12 months in clinical research. There's 2 ways, all right? The first one is just requires 1 study. So all you need is 1 inpatient clinical trial. 1 inpatient clinical trial with enough days of inpatient stay. So I would say a minimum of 10 days of inpatient stay. And where you make your money on these studies is not in the study procedures that you get reimbursed like you would in an outpatient study. That's not where you make your money in these studies. Where you make your money in these studies, huge profits, I've done this before, is in the bed days. Okay, so you negotiate a deal with a hospital or with a nursing home or with some kind of clinic like a sleep lab that can accommodate overnight stay. Surgery center is also one way to go about it. There's just so many different options. You negotiate a rate with them, preferably a monthly rate, and this is where having a lot of patients to enroll comes in handy. because you're going to be paying a monthly rate, let's say $3,000, $5,000 a month for like 2 beds, or you could negotiate more for more beds, like $6,000 a month for 4 beds, $9,000 a month for 6 beds, which is what I did at one of my clinics on this $1 million study. And that's really all you need. That is your $1 million study. In 1 year, you will gross $1 million if you enroll an average amount of study participants in that study, meaning 10, and you're not doing any other studies, so all your efforts focused on this study. And what you do is once you negotiate that monthly rate, you then build a sponsor what they're willing to reimburse you for. Usually, you want to get anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 a night for overnight stay, and of course you can have costs like having some of your staff be present during those 24-hour shifts or those evening shifts. Having some studies require MD supervision, but not all inpatients do. Some are okay with the RN or the nurse practitioner or a physician assistant to stay overnight. So you really make, like, the nights start adding up, and if you're making about $1,000 a night in profit per each patient, which is what you should be going for, and let's say you have 6 patients in there every single night for the duration of the study. So as soon as someone's discharged from the unit, someone else goes in, so you don't have any empty beds. You do this consistently for a year, you're going to go over $1 million, right? Again, having that period of inpatient stay, at least 10 days, is crucial here, okay? I had a study where it was 45 days inpatient stay. Typically, they're anywhere from 2 weeks to 1 month. 45 is a little on the long side of things, but I've seen some at like 60 days in a row of inpatient stay. So you can see how quickly, at $1,000 per patient per night, the revenues add up. And we haven't even gotten into the actual schedule of assessments that you're getting reimbursed for every single procedure at the clinic when the patients come to the clinic, let's say when they get discharged from the study, or the actual procedures you're doing when you're going to the unit, right? So this is separate, and that's all extra revenue that all adds up. That's my favorite way and the quickest way to get to 7 figures in 12 months. If you can't do inpatient studies, or you just don't want to go, you don't want to cross that road just yet, you need 10 outpatient clinical trials, each one paying at least $10,000 for every completed subject. And you don't want the studies to actually last too long. You want a completed patient to be anywhere from 4 weeks to 12 weeks, although you could push it out as far as 6 months. Alright, so sometimes these phase 2 studies end really quick, like a completed patient will complete the study in 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 16 weeks. Those are the kind of studies you want, and the total reimbursement for each study participant that completes the study is around $10,000. Sometimes you can get a lot more. Sometimes you can get like 14 or 15. It really depends on what kind of study it is and what the procedures are, if it's a very complex study. So you need like 10 studies like this that generate at least $10,000 per completed patient, all going on at once. And you're going to need to enroll at least 8 to 10 subjects. And by enroll, I mean randomize. I don't mean screen fill. Randomize 8 to 10 subjects in each of these studies. And for this option, this is option 2, it's possible to get to 7 figures in 1 month, but you're also going to have to pay your study coordinators, because there's no way you can do this by yourself. You can probably oversee it on your own, but you probably will need, for 10 studies, at least 3 study coordinators. So you got to factor in their salary there too, around $50K, give or take, right, per each one. So, but you can still gross 7 figures, and then you can see where recruiting the patients becomes important. You can see where having study leads constantly coming to you is important. You can see where having enough MDs to refer you subjects is important, and you can see where negotiating contracts and budgets is important. Luckily, I do all this for you from my consulting firm, so give me a call or text 949-415-6256 or dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com. And yeah, those are 2 ways to make 7 figures in 12 months in clinical research. It's possible. It's done all the time. companies do this over and over and over and over again every single year. Hopefully you're one of them too. Let me know how this works. Let me know what you think about this. Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care.